Perfect. So let me just share my screen here for you guys. And not there. Awesome. So I was busy building out my SMS templates and so on. So you, Zita, and who else do we have in here right now? We have Navita. We'll allow Navita to talk. I know Navita's been on a few times before. Zita, you're fairly new. Ram, are you a new agent locator client, or have you been using our system for a little while yet?
Sorry, you were asking a question?
Yeah, I was just asking if you're new to Agent Locator or if you've been with us for a little while yet.
I'm relatively new.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So today I'm going to finalize this for everyone as well. Putting together like the Google documents, the drives for you guys as to different campaigns. This is a campaign that we actually received from one of our clients that uses it. It's from Craig Hummel. So this is a campaign I use. I've done a couple tweaks essentially with it. Nothing to do with the timeline, just a little bit in email content or the SMS content itself. But with any campaign or any email, text message, do adjust them. Make sure you read over them. You want it sounding like how you would want to communicate with a database. But so far, this has worked for Craig. And those leads that, again, and we'll do filters quickly, they're just not responsive to your phone calls or your SMS messages. So this campaign runs for approximately a year. It is not a very busy, like super overwhelming campaign. There's a few actions right in the beginning, and then it definitely spaces out. And so there's only a handful of actions really that are in here. So you have your leads. So again, all you guys that are in here, we do focus a lot on filters, and that's the best way to organize your leads as to who and when you should call them. Of course, putting tasks on individuals that I always say, put a task on someone when you commit to a day and time following up to them, or if you just had a really good conversation with that individual, because you don't want them to slip your mind, because in the midst of things, you are going to talk to a lot of people, and it's very easy to forget. So if you had a really great conversation with someone, tag them in a fashion that you're going to recognize that tag, but also create the task on them, because then you're not going to forget to follow up. So I see that we had Arshdeep and Shahida join in. Just so that you two are aware, I have allowed you to talk if you are not talking, or definitely if you're at home with friends or family, I should say, or there's just a lot of commotion. Just make sure you do mute yourself. That way we don't all hear the background noise. So I'm just going to quickly go over the first two filters. We hammer these into you guys. They are going to become your best friend. I see people all the time filtering and trying to find leads, in various, just different ways, which also often misleads sometimes. So the number one filter that you guys use, you should all have this in your CRM system. If you don't have it in your CRM, let us know. It's very easy to add in, but if you need help adding it in, just reach out. Now, so this is what this filter does, is it pulls up everyone that you haven't tried calling. So again, the importance of logging your call. So this is everyone with 0 calls logged. You have phone validity is either unknown or valid. This is a call list. So we want to make sure that you actually call these people essentially. And then the pipeline is for those that we have yet to make contact with or move any further through the pipeline. So they're all on not set new lead, try to contact. Now, this number one filter, again, should always be empty. The best you can. So daily, try to empty it out. I always say today's or yesterday's leads at most should be what you're seeing in here. It can, depending on how your business is going. But reality is, the leads that are popping into your site that are new, if you're getting 1 or 2 or even for a day. The reality is that should be no more than 5 minutes of your time to do that. Not everyone's going to pick up on that first call. If they do and it takes more than 5 minutes, then it's a good conversation. It's well worth that call. So as you're calling these individuals, of course, not everyone answers, and that brings you into our second filter. And this second filter is just going to have you keep calling these leads, in attempt to gain communication. So it has you calling that lead at least 8 times. So the number of calls is equal to or less than 8. We still have the same phone validity as well as the pipeline here, but that was not contacted by phone, and it's all leads within the last 2 days. So essentially you call your lead every other day for a total of 8 calls, and it's about 2 weeks of calling your lead. Now, the key to this filter here, of course, is consistency. If you're consistent with your calls, again, we're not leaving voice messages. So as long as you get consistent, most will answer by that 8th call, just out of sheer curiosity, 100%. They just want to figure out who it is that's trying to get a hold of them. Now, there are going to be leads that hit past this 8th call. It just doesn't matter what you do. They're just, they just don't ever answer. They're not responsive. So what you end up doing with those leads is after the 8th call, it's more or less you're going to follow up with them every week as long as they're active. And that's a phone call aspect of things. And so what you can do for that one, so this is a filter that you guys can create. Need help creating it, again, just let us know. So this one here would be the number of calls is equal to or greater than 8. So we've tried those 8 calls, and we would want the same phone and pipeline, right? So we have the phone validity is either unknown or valid. We don't want to include people we can't call in the phone list, of course. And then we have our pipeline here, which is for the people, again, that we've yet to make contact with. Now, the after is we are going to add the was not contacted, and we're going to go by phone, and it's all leads in the last 7 days. And we only want those that are active, right? So we're going to add the last one, which was last activity is, and then it's all leads within the last 30 days. So they have to be active within the last 30 days to pull within this list. So if we go over, I probably don't have any because this is a training account. So you can call this whatever you want. You can call it, continue, or I do after like more than 8 calls, active leads, that sort of thing. However you want to name that filter. So you just give it a name and then click create company, okay? And that's your easiest bet to go about doing that. So for those that jumped on a little bit after, what we're going to do is kind of focusing on these leads, more or less, the ones that we keep trying to call, but they're just not responsive. You can see that they're active and sometimes they're not, but it's more or less trying to get those leads to respond. So I am putting together, and we'll be doing, more of them, so to speak, but it's over here. So email campaigns. So I'll share this. It'll be shared in the Facebook group. Of course, for you guys to use, it is a buyer campaign that is essentially just helping you. You're still going to call your lead as you should be, but this is kind of to piggyback on top of that. So this actually came from our agent, Craig. He forwarded it. It's something that he does use. So he uses it after his 6th call. So after his 6th call, if he still hasn't made contact with them, he throws them on this campaign. Now you can choose to do it after the 6th call. You can do it after the 8th call, whatever you see fit. Again, we're going to call them weekly after that if we hit that 8th call. So this is just an email and text campaign. It is not overly exhausting. There's not a whole bunch of actions that are going out to the point where that person's going to feel like they're being spammed from you. So you can see, like, we do the first action on the first day that you assign them. Then it's 3 days later, another SMS. Then from that, it's 2 weeks later, 1 week later, 30 days after that, 30 days after that. So that's monthly, 60 days, and then a year. So it's not over the top. But again, some of the leads you're essentially, they're going to fall off this campaign because the whole goal is you're going to make contact with these individuals at some point during that time frame. So you have two options. So the option that I did first prior is I created all the emails as email templates. Now you don't have to do that. This is if you definitely, if you feel like you're going to want to use that for somebody else down the road, then you can definitely have it as a template. That way you can select and send it to whoever, whenever. Same with the SMS messages. It just allows you to select and send. So you might use, they might not be on the campaign, but you might want to send them that SMS message. So creating those email templates, I believe a lot of you do know, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But basically you put the title, and really the document here, you can just copy and paste. Really, I'm going to take it so that it's not bolded, because if I don't make it so it's not bolded, it will go on bold. So just copying and paste in there. You can title it, this is for your reference only, the subject, and then the category. So I did choose a category essentially where I have the no response e-campaign. That way, if I'm even just on the home page here, I can pull up that category and see all the emails that are part of that campaign. So it just allows you to quickly identify those emails that you may have had. And same for the SMS. So if you wanted to create SMS templates, it's the same idea. You can just simply copy and paste. It took me, I think, like 3 minutes to add these in. So there's 5 of those SMSs that I added in. And again, you can edit them after the fact. You don't have to have them as template, but if you feel like they may be beneficial to have so that you can select and send at a later date or somebody else, then they're great to have in there. So building the campaign, I haven't even started this. I have all the content here, so I thought it would be a great opportunity to be able to go in and create the campaign. So when you go into the settings, again, for those of you who haven't ventured this way, you're going to go into the campaign template editor, and all you have to do is go create new. Now, when you create new, you're gonna be brought to this page. You're gonna give this campaign a name. This is for your reference, so you know what campaign is. So I'm just gonna call this the no response campaign. This is gonna be a relative date campaign. And we are definitely going to want stopping clauses on this, because again, this whole campaign's entire purpose is to make contact with those leads, right? So, there we go. So we definitely want that if the pipeline moves to make contact, set meeting, sign agreement, sold, we would definitely want this campaign to stop, because it'll just make you seem silly if you're sending out messages about not getting a hold of someone and already signing an agreement. Now you can have the silent hours. So it's recommended that you have the silent hours specifically because of the SMS messages. You wouldn't want SMSs going out, super late in the evening or too early in the morning, middle of the night, that sort of thing. And kind of doing the hours that you work. So what's the latest that you would want to be responding to a lead in the evening if you're sending them SMSs, or even an email, right? So you, under your own discretion, just click on the clock. I'm just going to put this at 10 p.m. and I'm going to put this at a.m. So anytime between 10 and 8:50, no text messages, no emails from this campaign will actually go out. And then we just save it. You do have the option of only doing it on business days. If that's something that you want to do, you can definitely do that as well. But I'm going to save that. So once we have saved it, we're going to create the first action in here. So the first action in here, if I pull this over, is the text message. So is this first name? So it's just a simple text, and the whole purpose of that text is to try to get the person to respond, right? And then the same day, we're also going to do an email, did I scare you off? Now 100% you guys are going to edit those emails, make sure that modify them. The gist of it is all there, but 100%, tweak it if that's not something that you would want to communicate with someone, then do change it. So I'm just going to go with my first action, and I'm going to apply this on here. And you can also add this. So one thing that you can do, and this is a little bit more enhanced, is you can modify the entire drip from when the lead comes into your CRM system. So you can have the first 2 regular actions, for example, and then let's say 6 days later, actually that would be 12 days later, the first SMS goes out. Now, that 100% would mean that you have to be confident in yourself that you are still keeping up and being consistent with your calls, right? So entirely up to you guys there. Now, so this SMS, so once we've added this SMS, we are going to basically, so I have these here, right? So the first one that I have is called "Is This?" And so it just automatically pulls that SMS. It makes it a little bit easier when you are building a campaign. If those are there, you just select and send. But you could also, as well, just copy from this email and paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. So entirely what's going to be best for you guys and what's easiest for you guys. So this one here, we're going to go out. It's going to go from the main agent. And because we're manually applying this, I'm going to have this go out, let's say just 2 minutes after that we assign this campaign to the person, because you're going to manually, in a lot of cases, just do this. Now, the second action was going to be an email. Now, the email is, which one is this? Did I scare you off? So I'm just going to type in scare, start typing scare, and there we go. So again, I can go in here and kind of tweak this to make it a little bit more presentable. Here, this was when I copied and pasted in bold format. I kept all these weird formatting rules that were in here. So this is, again, the first email that goes out. Again, we don't need stopping clauses because we put the stopping clause on the entire campaign. Now this one's going to go out the same day, right? So we're going to have this go out even like 1 minute after the SMS. So when we're doing the delay period, the first action is going to be from when you add the person to the campaign. And then we do the second action, which is how long after this action does this action go out? So then we have that third action here. And the third action in this campaign is another SMS message. So we are going to pull the SMS. And this one here is, I feel like it's any questions from here. So this is, again, did you need any, it's just a simple text asking if you have any questions about the listings they've been receiving, and to let you know if there is, what you need to help kind of thing. So this one here will go out 3 days after this email here. So we're going to put the 3 days and change this to days. Now I will, just so you guys know, I will put a video together. Of course, we are recording this, it is live, but I will, when I'm putting together that Google document, I will include a video as well for you guys, just to help you out with that. And so after that, we're going to have another email. So this email here is, let's just see, testing, is this thing on? So this here, again, basically just letting the person know that we're not going anywhere, and to let you know how you can help them. So this one here is going to actually go out 2 weeks after this one here. So it'll be, we'll just go weeks, and this is a 2. We'll save that. So 2 weeks after this SMS goes out, this email will go out. Then we're going to do another one, which is an SMS, and this SMS is going to go out 1 week after this email. And the SMS for this one here is the coffee and the meat. So again, right now, obviously, we're not all just going to grab coffees or anything with anyone, depending on where you live. So again, modify it, tweak it, however you need to be for today's day and times. And so we have that there. Save it. Now, I wanted to point this out to you guys. So if you guys are part of a team or working or leveraging, you can actually, so for the emails and the SMSs, you can actually choose who those actually come from within the organization. So again, if you had a mortgage agent, for example, and one of your SMSs or an email has to do with that, you can actually have it coming from the mortgage rep. That's part of your team, as an example. So for this case, it's always just generally coming from the main agent, the person that is assigned to that lead. And this one here is again going out 1 week after that one there. We then have the Justin Bieber email. It's kind of a catchy one, or I'm going to say it's just Justin B because it's actually to do with a plumber, but it's definitely a great subject line to probably encourage a lot of people to open it. But it's more about, working with the different professionals in the industry that you need to refer to them from time to time. This one is actually going to go out 30 days after this first one. So 30 days and go save. We have another one, which is a text message. So again, we're just building this out. So our goal also with this is to have a bunch of them. Our team is going to start putting together a lot of these campaigns so that they're just ready, available for you. So you can just tweak them more or less, however you see fit. So right now, it's just adding everything in. It can be a pain, but 100%. Yeah. So fallen. So this one here again, it's a funny kind of text message. Have you fallen and you can't get up? I haven't heard from you. Are you okay? So that is the SMS that is going to go out to that person. And this one as well is going to go out 30 days after this one. Now, if you guys have any questions as I'm going through this, by all means, just speak up. Some of this is probably coming easy to others. It may not be as easy. So if you do have any questions, by all means, we all learn at different paces and learn differently. So that is, and then we have our other email. Now, the only thing is the final email and the, more or less, I have to figure out the math in that for you guys, is because the last email is like the anniversary, where it's been a year since you guys have been in here. So that I'll have to figure out what the actual timing is from the previous action based on what this all adds up to as far as building out that pipeline here. So this one here is the contact information email, and this one goes out 30 days later as well. Save that. And then we have a 60-day one, which is another email. And this one here is, what did I do? What did I call this one? No. Market activity. That's what I called it. So this one here is just basically kind of pointing out the market activity, like it fluctuates, any questions, things like that. So one thing you guys may notice with these emails, they're not, and again, tweak them, but when you're sending emails, especially as part of a campaign, short and sweet and to the point, really, none of these are like massively long emails. This seems more genuine to the person receiving that you actually took the time to send it. Yeah, because if you have like this big, it's every time, it's like a newsletter that you're like sending this, paragraphs, 1,000-word essay. Most people won't read it, and they can tell that you didn't just sit there and spend the time sending it to them. So this one here is actually going to go at 60 days after the previous one. And this is another email, of course. And then we have our final actions, which is 1 year after. So this is going to be an SMS. And again, so we've got 60, 90, 120, 150, 150, 4 weeks, 154. So what is that? 365 is 211 days after you add that, essentially. So this would go out, as funny as I'm just going to do in days, so 211 days after this previous action, and this is going to be the anniversary. And so it's just basically, this is an SMS. You can do it as SMS and email. So I'll do both. They're both generally the same message going to the individuals. Some people, you may have a good like a good phone number, but not necessarily that sort of thing. And vice versa. And so the last one will be the email, and we're just going to do the same one, which is the anniversary. And this one will just go out 1 minute after that last action. Saving that. So that's the entire content of this campaign. So again, looking at that, you're going to put your silent hours in. You are going to make sure you put those stopping clauses in. So the stopping clauses is going to make this campaign automatically stop. So I know I've been there. I'm sure a lot of others have been there where you've got somebody on a campaign and it's all about trying to check in or follow up or get a hold of them, and you finally get a hold of them and you forgot to turn the campaign off and it's still sending them messages trying to. Now, if this is something where you want it to automatically assign to your leads again, I would definitely, these are for people that, in my opinion, if you kind of wanted to follow the structure of the calls, making sure you're getting through those at least 6, 8 calls, you've got to be very, what's the word I'm looking at? I don't even know what the word, committed to actually making those calls. Otherwise, this campaign will start going out and you may not even reach those calls. But if you wanted to automatically assign it, you just choose the source, so where this lead comes from, whether it's all the sources or just the buyer sources, whatever it may be, and then any new lead that comes in would automatically be assigned to this campaign. But again, you would definitely change this one here so that it goes out, even if it starts like 10 days later, that sort of thing. Or I think you want it at least 12 days, so 12 or 15 days after that lead registers, then the first action goes out. But again, you have to be consistent. Now, does that all make sense? Does anyone have any questions with respect to this aspect of the campaign and building the campaign and anything surrounding that? No, you can use the chat. You can unmute yourself. Oh, we do have some. Sorry, guys, my little icon was hiding the chat thing. So set up this campaign for you, the first campaign. So we will give you all the content, Navita. It's a campaign that you will need to create in your system 100%, but it's not very difficult to do. I am putting it all into Google Drive. I will include a video in there for you all and all the content of that stuff. So again, just throw that in there. Now, if you guys have a lot of leads in your system, let's say, where even if I take this off, apparently, oh, it's this right here that's throwing me off here. And so let's say we wanted to apply this campaign to all these people because we haven't got a hold of them, right? So you would just simply go and select all your leads, yes, and go select all. And then up in the apply actions, you can mass assign a campaign. So if we go here and this is the no response campaign, and then you just go done, and yes, I want to, I'm just going to do it. Whoever, it's probably me, mostly everyone else unsubscribed. So I'm going to be added to, all these leads are being added to this campaign. So if I open up Crystal, it might take a second here to show in here, but if I go in here, we'll see it adding soon. Now I see there's a question from you. Yes, David, I will send the video later. Not a problem. So now we can see that this campaign has been added to this lead. If you are manually adding it, you just simply go to the e-campaign section and then click that. I'm not sure if it's going to show here because I'm already on that campaign. So we have this response lead right there. Now, if you want to look at this campaign, so if you wanted to manually stop this campaign, you can just stop it. You can also stop individual actions as well for an individual if you care to. So if you wanted to, just stop this SMS, you can preview it. You can also force it to go out right away. So if you push this little button here, if I push it right now, for example, if I go to this, you get the SMS message that just went out. So all the short codes are in there so that it automatically pulls the lead's name so you guys don't have to worry about any of that. But that's a great way to be able to do that. Now, another thing that you can do is, so as you're adding people to that campaign, you can actually filter your leads to see which leads are actually on that campaign. So if we go to the campaigns, and let's say, you have different options. So has all selected. That means if I selected multiple campaigns, the person would have to have all these, like both of them. They can have more than that, but they would need to have at least these two. If you do any, that means they need to have any, either or both. They don't have to have both of them. They can have one or the other. Or pulling up everyone that has none of the selected. So in this case, you want to pull up everyone that isn't on this campaign. So we're going to go select the campaign and go apply. And 73 out of those 137 leads do not have this campaign applied to them. You can then, of course, further it down even further if you wish to do so. My phone is adding to the campaign. My phone's already dinging, going ding, ding, ding from all those SMS messages. Perfect. So again, you guys, if there's any questions that you guys have directly that I can point out for you guys here, 100% let me know. The biggest thing is just staying on top of your calls. Honestly speaking, how are you guys doing with your calls if you are on the lead gen aspect? Are you guys, have you made at least 5 calls every day since Monday? So Navita is asking, how many filters do we need to cover all contacts? So what do you mean by that, Navita? If you want to, I think I have you so that your microphone, you can talk if you want to. It might be a little bit easier to understand. I don't really understand what the exact question is. The number 1 and 2 filters will always pull up the leads that you haven't spoken to. No, we can't hear you. You might have to click on the microphone and change a different microphone. Because it might have auto-selected one that's not working. You are saying. Okay, so you've got 300 contacts, but only 90 gets picked up out of the 3 filters. Okay, so the first 2 filters, of course, are the ones that you've yet to make contact with, right? So if we do this one here, what are you, like, they're all going to be here. The only people that aren't showing in this list are people that you've obviously made contact through garbage, right? Or their phone's invalid in this sense. So for most part, these are all the people that you can communicate with phone. You then have the same on this one here. It's exactly the same. Now you have your number 4, your number 3, probably your system, where you've made contact or set a meeting. Now again, point out here that the last activity is 30, right? So it's only going to pull up people that are active in the last 30 days. You can flip this. So if I go is not and hit apply, it's now showing me the additional 41 that I've made contact with, but they just haven't been active. The other leads that you're likely going to have in your CRM system are people that are garbage leads, right? So if you point them as the pipeline, even is, garbage leads, there's those people. So it really depends on, what you're trying to do with those. Like you have the 300 contacts, only 90 gets picked of those 3 filters because they qualify to fall in those 3 filters, but you'll probably find more in your main contact one. When you switch that last activity, you're going to pull up all the other people that you can call. Now, another list that you guys may want to do is your email only list. So again, you can even recreate that campaign, but as an email only campaign, because you only have a valid email for that person. So if you want to pull up all the people that you cannot contact on the phone, that email is only the method of communication, or vice versa, you can. So basically here we go, the phone validity is, and then we want to have everyone, so these are the people with valid email, so their phones would be either invalid or do not call. And then as far as the email goes, I'm going to do unknown as well. Unknown would be a lead that may have come in through a branded website of some sort, or a Facebook lead that's not set up on the lead gen system. Essentially a lead that has not basically you haven't sent an email from the CRM system for the system to determine if it's a valid email or not. So we definitely still want to include them in here. And so when we apply this filter, there's 9 people in here. So this would be your email only list, right? They're not going to show up in your number 1, number 2, or number 3 because we can't get a hold of them, right? So they're not showing up in those call lists for us. And so call it like your email only list, whatever it may be. As they update their phone numbers, they will automatically fall off this list and fall into the other list. Yeah, so that's probably what you're missing, Navita, is that email only list. And then again, you can flip this if you only want this, and then the phone. We're kind of going reverse. These are all the people that we can call, but we can't email. So if this is like a mass SMS list, whatever it is, right? Trying to get a valid email from individuals. Now, one thing I do want to point out to you guys in here is when it comes to validity and what have you, there are definitely individuals that put their information in incorrectly on purpose. I don't know about you, but I know I have in the past. You're just bypassing the information. I don't want to be added to any kind of email list. I just wanted the information. It's just been from some random website, but we all get so many emails, and it was just more or less whatever it may be. So there is that. There is always going to be people that they just don't want to be contacted. They're not ready to be contacted yet in any way, shape, or form. So they're just going to give you bad information to bypass the system. Now, you will have people that accidentally give you bad information. That wasn't their intentions, but we all move so quickly in today's day and time that it's easy to, mix numbers up in our phone number, or, spell our email wrong. I see people spelling their names wrong. They mix a couple letters up, or they spell Gmail or Hotmail incorrectly. Again, mostly mixing letters up, or they've missed a letter of some sort. So it's not always intentional that they're giving you that information. So if you guys do have, so I'll just kind of pull this C because it's invalid. Click on that. So always check this email. Is what I encourage you guys. So just do a quick check over, see if there's anything obvious as to what might be causing it to be invalid. Click on this little pad of paper here, edit that email. Now, the first thing you'd want to do after, if there is, sometimes you can't spot it, right? You're just like, oh, it looks like a legitimate email address. Or sometimes it's just obvious it's fake. But the ones that look legitimate, or if you tweak it, what you can do is you click on this little icon here. So once you've tweaked it, that red mark will remove. And then if you click on this here, what it does is it resends the activation email. So then we can see, you can sit there and watch if that email actually delivers, or if it drops again, or if it says invalid. But at least you attempted to fix that, right? And same goes for the phone number. Again, if you just do a quick look over based on your area, you know what the area codes are. It might be I've seen one yesterday that was 674. It was supposed to be likely a 647. Just simple things like that aren't intended, but definitely it's going to come out as being invalid. Texts aren't going to deliver when you call. It's not going to work, stuff like that. So another factor with these email addresses, and that you would have to bring it to the attention of our support, it does happen from time to time where you get in contact with a lead and you're saying, I'm sending it to this email, it's bouncing back, it's showing red. The lead has confirmed that this is their valid email address. There's a few things that might be happening. One is they have super, pretty strong spam blockers going on. So it doesn't matter where a third party is coming from a CRM, their provider might actually be blocking that communication. The other is since the existence of Agentlocator, if that person had registered on any Agentlocator website, whether it's, and I believe it could even be our website as well, not that a consumer typically does that, but they have from time to time. But if they mark an email as spam, even if it was 8 years ago, we have to go in and remove that suppression because they've marked emails from our system as being spam. So even though they're agreeing to it with you, it's just still not going to go through until we remove that suppression for them. And then the emails will start going through. So if that ever happens to you guys, just email support and they will take care of that suppression if they've confirmed. You have to have that confirmation. You can't just go around removing suppressions, just so you are aware. And so Jordan is asking, how did I resend the activation email? Jordan, it is this little envelope right here next to the email address here. So that's how you guys, you can see it's dropped again. So if I was to just refresh this, we're going to see that that's valid again. All right, now, so those are kind of things to do with your filters and your campaigns. Do you guys have any other questions with respect to the system that I can point out for you right now that you may need a little bit of guidance on? I'm not sure if you guys did receive the updates. I'm sure you did. I think our updates went out today. Their email went out today anyway, I'm pretty sure. So we do have a couple. One's an update. One is just kind of bringing it to your attention. So I'll just quickly go over those with you. So you do have your company administration here and user accounts. Company administration is really just, if you're wanting to integrate with another third-party CRM system. So you can go into the user accounts here. And so when you go into the user accounts, you have, so if we're going this way, so this is your user preferences. It's going to only be accessible through this method. If you go into the user preferences this way, you're not going to see all the options, okay? So you're going to be missing a couple of them. Let's put it that way. So what you're going to see here is the website, actually CRM settings, where the lead alerts. So if you don't have your lead alerts on, you can turn them on. And what that does is it adds this page right here where you can control how you get notified about leads. Now, this one here, you can choose to do select leads, and you can choose how to do it. It really depends on yourself. So if you do this as yes, and you guys have a lot of leads in your system, you're going to start getting annoyed with all the notifications that you're getting, because it just starts to be redundant and you start to ignore them. So I always encourage that you do it on select leads. If you do this, that way you select which people you get notifications for, and not all of them. And then you can also do it for, like, you know, if they're looking at a property 3 or more times, if they like a property, and then after the 30 days. So this one here you can't change. It's just a system setting. So basically, if a lead registers on your site and they become dormant, and then all of a sudden they start looking at listings again 30 days later, you will get a notification that, you know, this inactive lead has all of a sudden become active. So you can do the same for tasks and things like that on here as well. Now, another feature that you guys have, not sure how much you guys would use it, but it's great if you are, you know, even sharing your system with somebody else, showing them, you know, which some of our clients do. They like to give, you know, people a tour on their system, or maybe you're start doing some training and kind of using the system as a training platform to go over. You now have this blur data feature. So you can actually turn this on. So if you guys ever watch our Beverly Live dials, you'll notice that stuff is blurred. Previously, I would have to go and go through support to do that. We've added it now so that everyone can actually use this. So when we turn this on, just make sure that you save it over here in the right-hand corner. When we go back to the main screen, you're going to notice on the bottom left-hand side that we've now got this little swirly mark right here. So you can actually blur. So if you want to blur everything, all the fields in the system, you can blur all the fields. Basically what this does is it blurs out all your information, anything to do with the lead as well. So it's, if somebody was on here, they wouldn't know whose system this is, essentially. Now, you will have the option as well where you can just blur all the fields except for the first name. This is, of course, what we would do with our live dials, because Beverly needs to know their first name in order to call someone. But that's a great, you know, if you guys are doing any training or guiding someone through the system and you just don't want all the information the leads showing to them, then, you know, use it at your own discretion, essentially. Perfect. So I am, unless we've got some additional questions from you guys on here, I'm going to call it a day on here. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds if you guys do have any questions on here. I have, how do we turn it on back? How do we turn it back? So basically you could just turn it off. Oh, that's a good question, actually. So except for first name, you might, that, oh, there we go. So basically you just select it. So you select it and then unselect it to turn that. So if you blur all fields and then just click it again if you don't want it. That's how you do it. Is that the question that you're asking, Zita? Okay, perfect. So again, it's really however you want to do it, or if you're you know, there's some people that do a lot of stuff online and they want to share what they're doing and what have you, then definitely you can start doing that. Any other questions from you guys with regard to anything I can help you with at this time? Have all of you had training? I know Navita and Zita have. Shahida, have you, and Jordan? So it's all the people that I'm familiar. Shahida, have you had training? You as well, Navita. Thank you.
Sorry, I missed you.
No, I was just asking if you've already had training yourself. Have you had?
Yeah, I tried to actually. The first time it was really helpful, but I
Okay.
have to really digest that one.
Yeah, so this one here is
You
more,
did pretty good. I mean, a lot of things I don't know nothing about, but now I'm thinking, but I have to play around and see.
it's definitely something where you just have, it's like a hands-on kind of.
Yes, yes. I mean, it
There
is
you
great
go.
the way you
For
explained.
sure. I'm just going to see here. So we did, oh, we did one way back in January. So what you can do, are you still doing lead? Are you
No,
still?
I'm doing it, but I'm not using calling here because people cannot understand.
No, you just have to, so what you can do,
I don't know, is my computer problem or what?
it could be the processor. If you have too many applications running at once, it will definitely affect the sound quality because it's just, you know, when your computer's working and
Yeah,
okay.
what I do, I call from my cell,
Mhm.
and then I go from there. But I don't enter here. I entered the separate sheet, but I think it's better the one if I'm doing here.
Yeah, you're gonna log it on here because you want to know when you last tried to contact someone or when you last did speak to someone, so you know when you should be actioning that again, right? If we're going off of sheer memory,
No, I have to call actually, and I need a little bit help here because I'm looking at is a lot of things I can do which I'm not aware of it.
yeah. So what I'm going to do here, I will. I know everyone else is using. Let me go into chat. And so in the chat, I just put a link, Shahida.
Yeah.
So click on that link or open, copy, paste it, and book yourself in. That's a one-on-one training. You'll get set up with one of our trainers here.
Yeah, I think I need that one a little bit. Yes.
Yeah. And then I'll go over like everything.
Okay.
Yeah, so it makes it a little bit better.
I have a 2 o'clock appointment today, but I will try to go back tonight and see.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then Zita, I know you had training, right? Are you saying that you want training or no?
Yeah, I want training a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not this time, but I have to call back. I have to look at it, play around with that
Sure.
because a lot of things I never realized it that is there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's once you start poking around and playing around with stuff and you know, it's actioning things that really start to get you familiar, or you just kind of forget because you just, when you're
Yeah.
playing,
Yeah.
you don't realize what's there to help you. So, perfect. So I will get, yeah, so book yourself in. You'll be assigned to one of our trainers. And aside from that, thanks everyone for popping in here.
Thanks.
If you have any questions or need any assistance, just email our support team at support@agentlocator.ca. They will point you in the right direction or provide you with whatever it is that you need help with. And if it is training, then it will, they'll point you in my direction. Anyway, thanks you all and have yourself a fantastic weekend. Zita, I will have your trainer reach out to you, okay? And and do a review or a check-in of some sort. But you all have yourself a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.